Welcome back to Jersey Matters. In the last year, 9,500 families have decided not to vaccinate their children for religious reasons. That's up 600% in a decade. What's the reason for it? Well, to talk about that and a way to fix the problem, if you believe it's a problem, Assemblyman and physician Herb Conaway from the 7th Legislative District in Burlington County. Sir, thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
What is the reason that there's been such an increase?
Well, the current administration in Trenton has interpreted the law to relax the law on religious exemptions, and so to open up a loophole, if you will. And so many people have sort of moved through that loophole and use it as a means of not vaccinating their children, putting not only their children at risk, but others in the community that who don't get the protection of herd immunity that you expect from vaccinations.
Are you suspicious of the people that come forward and say it's religious?
Well, I think people have a concern and are using the religious exemption based on other concerns. That's what we're trying to get at. You know, the vaccine program works to eliminate disease, and indeed we've seen that measles has been eliminated in North, Central, and South America. Just think about that. Eliminated means that we haven't had a case based on an endemic outbreak in 3 years. That's what that means. And that was only done because of strict laws requiring vaccines. Now, if we loosen those laws, if we make it easier for people to claim all sorts of exemptions, not based on religion, but based on fears that have been generated by these sort of, I'll call them sham doctors and people that have other access to grind in healthcare, you will lose the great benefit that vaccination gives to mankind.
The American Pediatric Association recently came out and said that if you are treating someone who has not been vaccinated, a child that has not been vaccinated, you can stop treating them?
Well, physicians always have the, with notice, to decline treating someone. You know, we have that that spans the gamut. And I think a number of pediatricians have been concerned about children coming into the practice, and there's a waiting room. We try to segregate kids who come in with illness, acute illness, those who are coming in just for well checks. And to the extent that you have a number of people in your practice that simply refuse to vaccinate, you're putting the children who are coming to your office at risk. And so they're making a decision what's best for all concerned. Some may take that. I don't know that I agree with it, but I'm not surprised that someone following sort of a logical progression would say, you know what, I've got a lot of children who are at risk. I have a high number of people in my practice who have immune compromised, who are immune compromised.
Whether you agree with it or not, it's still a warning sign.
It is a warning sign, and physicians are saying that there's a concern here, and they're right. They're right.
And so you're trying to do something about the religious exemption, not take it away, just prove it.
That's right. We've had a religious exemption. It's appropriate that there be one, but we want people to have a bona fide religious exemption. When we looked at this law and realized how it was being subverted, several of us in the legislature sort of got together in legislation that would tighten up that exemption. So you have to sort of state what your objection is, what the nature of the religious exemption is. You have to sign for that.
Are you afraid of what would happen if we don't amend this?
Well, the court has said, well, I'm afraid for the public health.
That's what I mean.
You know, I am afraid for that. I mean, when you look over the last 10 years, there have been 750,000 deaths due to vaccine-preventable diseases. Vaccines have prevented 322 million illnesses. It's prevented 21 million hospitalizations. It's saved $1.38 trillion in healthcare costs. So, you know, there's a tremendous burden, whether it be in health or in terms of finance, that are related to the vaccines, the use of them. It's been debunked over and over again. It's like arguing whether or not the earth is round or flat. This is settled that vaccines are safe and they provide a tremendous public health benefit to everyone, and particularly for those people who cannot be vaccinated because they have immune compromising conditions. Maybe they were born with an immune defect, or they have HIV, or they're on chronic steroids for other conditions. Those people are even more at risk than others, and they are protected by the fact that the people around them are vaccinated. And I think that's important. I think if people, you know, think outside of themselves a little bit and to their neighbor, and then want to help their neighbor, which I think is a great ethic, then they would get their kids vaccinated, if not for their own child, but for somebody else's kid.
And we'll end with that. Assemblyman and Dr. Herb Conaway from the 7th Legislative District in Burlington County. When we come back, a major announcement about the New Jersey drought. We'll tell you about it when Jersey Matters continues.